The Solo Show is brought to you by Victor Naraki Realtor, serving Disney and the greater Orlando area with celebratingflorida.com and disneyatyourdoorstep.com. Coming up on The Solo Show.
I'm not really like a ride person, and I don't really care, with all due respect, about Star Wars, so I never spend a lot of time at Hollywood Studios, but it doesn't really come up too much in the podcast, and maybe that's just the people I'm talking to, but I hear Epcot and Animal Kingdom the most.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Too bad about Star Wars, though.
Stan welcomes Samantha Alana from the Disney Solo Magic podcast. And can we really be friends with somebody who's a Disney fan but not into Star Wars? Stick around to find out.
Walt Disney once said, "If we can dream it, we can do it." If your dream is to live near Disney World, then you can do it, and I can help. Hi, I'm Realtor Victor Naraki, and I would appreciate the opportunity to make your dream a reality. I can help you decide which is best for you, a new construction home or pre-owned, based on your needs for size, neighborhood, and most importantly, your budget. How do I do that? Well, it's quite simple. I listen to what you want, and by using my experience as a realtor specializing in homes near Disney World for almost 15 years, I can find you the home you will love. Visit celebratingflorida.com and take your first step to making your dream a reality. I encourage you to create a free, no obligation account on my website. By doing so, you'll unlock the website's full potential and be able to enter specific criteria, save listings, and browse new properties sent to you by email. Remember, if you can dream it, we can do it.
Remember that website, celebratingflorida.com. And when you meet Victor, be sure to tell him the Solo Show sent you. Broadcasting from the Solo Studios, cleverly hidden in a janitor's room in the back of the Baxter Building, here in Winnipeg, Manitoba, in the center of North America, on this little planet we call Earth, this is the Solo Show. Join us as we welcome a first-timer in the guest host chair. Samantha Alana is the host of the Disney Solo Magic podcast. No relation to the Solo Show, of course. And she's a fellow Canadian, so that's a beauty, eh? Samantha and Stan are talking about the benefits of going to the Disney parks solo. See what I did there? So now, please welcome your host. Hey Stan, do you know why you should never give a balloon to Elsa? 'Cause she'll just let it go. They can't all be comedy gold, Stan. Here's Stan Solo.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Solo Show. I am Stan Solo as always, and I have got a very special guest for you today, a fellow Canadian. This is awesome. I don't get to talk to Canadians too much other than Francine. Well, and my friends and family and wife and stuff like that, but yeah. We have Samantha with us today from the Disney Solo Magic podcast, and no relation to the Solo Show podcast, by the way. It's just a coincidence. Samantha, welcome to the show, and how are you today?
I'm doing great. It's great to talk with you, Stan. Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, there is no relation between the Disney Solo Magic, and there also is no relation between our Canadianness. We are in different provinces.
Right. So you're in the Toronto area. I'm in Winnipeg. Are you in Toronto or Toronto area? Where would you say?
I'm in Toronto. Yeah.
In Toronto. Okay. Yeah. I'm actually planning a trip to Toronto next summer.
Oh, well, we'll have to do a big meetup. We know there are a few Torontonian Disney fans.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All righty. So I want to welcome you to the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself, as well as the Disney Solo podcast. What made you have the podcast? How long have you been going for? What is it about? Where can we find it? Stuff like that.
Yeah. All right. So like you said, my name is Samantha, and then I start the podcast by saying Olaf may not know who Samantha is, but now you do. And the Disney Solo Magic podcast is, we've been going for about 2.5 years, and I say it's the #1 podcast for solo travel to Disney World. So it's good that the Solo Show is not related to solo travel, because that would be a rivalry, and it's nice to collaborate instead. On the Disney Solo Magic podcast, we talk about tips and tricks for going solo. I share stories. I also interview people about the magic of going to Disney solo. And a lot of the things that we focus on are not just like the practical stuff, like budget tips or how to navigate this giant community, this giant city that is the Walt Disney World Resort, but also to like give permission to adults to go to Disney and have that healing journey, that connecting with their inner child, to really revel in the fact that they don't need to take care of people when they're there and all of those elements. And it's been so great to interview people because I've realized that those things that bring me to Disney solo, the fact that it is so safe, especially for a woman traveling by herself, and I feel like I'm very taken care of and very protected in this bubble, plus I can have fun, plus I can try new things, that those things are the same things that bring people to Disney as well. It wasn't as surprising or as odd as maybe I thought there was. So it's been really great to host the podcast and to meet so many people. I think we have like maybe like 150, like over 100 episodes that is both the interviews, the bonus episodes, and then our like regular episodes that come out once a month. They come out once a week.
Okay, I was going to say once a month. Well, I thought I was
no, once a week. Sometimes twice a week, but once a week, yeah.
That is awesome. I want to. So you go to the park solo more often than not, or strictly, or how does that work?
Yeah, I would say more often than not. Mm-hmm. Over the last couple of years, I've had the privilege to be able to go about 4 or 5 times a year. And a couple of those trips will be quote unquote, semi-solo trips. So I'll go with my mother and we'll do maybe Epcot in the afternoon. And then the rest of the time I'm there by myself. And that's, for some people, including myself, that's how they started even thinking about solo travel to Disney World, that they had like an evening, they had an hour, they had a couple hours in the morning or a couple hours after dinner where they were able to do some things themselves. And they were like, oh, this isn't odd. This is actually
bad
great
at all. Yeah.
And I do enjoy traveling with my mother. Some people are like, oh, my mother and I are best friends, and that's not our relationship, but we do travel really well to Disney. But I remember coming back from a trip and I was on a Facebook group for solo travel to Disney World, and I just was so amazed by everybody's joy in choosing this solo travel. And I was like, I can do that. And so a month later I went back. And so it's been a really nice kind of balance because I can go and I can share memories with her, but really I can just do my own thing. And that's what's so wonderful about solo travel to Disney.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because I never really thought about it before, but now that you say that, I realized what got me interested in going to the park solo was my daughter and I would go together, and she likes the thrill rides. She wants anything that goes fast, drops, goes spins, all that type of stuff, virtual. And I can't do that. I'm not into that. So generally what happens is I go through the line with her and then I take the chicken exit. She does the attraction and then I wait for her in the gift shop, which is fine. I'm okay with that. But when we went to the water parks, all I want to do is the lazy river. And all she wants to do is anything but the lazy river. So we found it best for, we'll meet up for lunch. You go nuts. You do everything you want to do, and I'll be in the lazy river. You'll see me come around eventually. We'll meet up. We'll go for lunch. and that's what we did. And I kind of really like that. I never really thought about it before, but yeah, that was kind of like my first time being solo in the parks, was just sitting on the lazy river in Blizzard Beach, going around and around in circles for, the entire day.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people think it's really weird to go to Disney solo as an adult. And I totally understand that. But then once you get there, you're like, oh, actually, number one, there's a lot of people here by yourself. And number two, oh, wait, I didn't need to compromise on anything. Like, one of the stories I tell is I was at Magic Kingdom with my mother and I was like, oh, do you want to go on Haunted Mansion? And she's like, no.
How can you not want to go to Haunted Mansion?
Sorry, I phrased that as a question. It wasn't a question, right? So, but it is nice to do like a Epcot food festival with somebody else, because then you can eat more food.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true. That's true. Yeah, so you can
Yeah.
split stuff, and
Yeah.
unless you're the one buying it all, then it's not quite so fun.
Oh,
But
well, I am the one
yeah,
that's buying it all. She's like,
yeah.
it's fine. It goes on the Magic Band. I'm like, who do you think pays that bill at the end of this trip?
How do you think the Magic Band works? Oh my gosh!
We for a couple of my birthdays the last few years, not the last year, we have got a cabin at Fort Wilderness, one of the older cabins.
Nice.
And it was a really good way to do that trip with my mother, for example, because first, Magic Kingdom was so easy to get to, but there was also like the cabin that she could like hang out with and do her puzzles. And it's really just like being in Florida and safe and have good food that my mother likes. And so it was nice to be able to like know that how to do that kind of balance of solo. But when I go solo, it's also great to not have to do that balancing at all.
Yeah. I guess I forgot to mention at the beginning here. It's so weird to me that this is the solo show. I've never done a show about going solo to the parks. This is the first time I've done this in, how many years. What's the main advantages of going to the park solo? You mentioned a couple of things already, that you get to do what you want when you want. What else is there?
Well, first, going back when you contacted me for this interview, I was like, oh gosh, is this another Disney solo podcast? Because we should talk more. And so you'll have to come on my podcast and talk about your solo travels. I think what is really great, what a lot of people talk about when they do their interviews is when you're going solo, how you can just be there for the vibes. Like if you want to go and do all the thrill rides and you want to do this and you want to do that, you can. But so many people talk about how great it is to just slow down, to just kind of sit, to bring in the music, to just like bring in the vibes. And one woman who I interviewed, I said, what's your favorite thing to do in the park solo? And she said, cry. Like it feels like a really safe place to do that. Okay. And and other people, like I just interviewed this guy who left his teenagers at home because their last trip as a family, the teenagers, like your daughter, just wanted to do all the fast rides. And he wanted to just kind of take it slow and not just have a trip that was all surrounded by fast rides, but surrounded by all these other kind of vibes and things with Disney. And so I think if you're already drawn to Disney, as someone who's interested in going solo, you already know there's a special kind of magic there that's really hard. Well, that's really easy to kind of not tap into if you're so busy with everybody else.
Yeah, that's true. Another thing, too, is you could really navigate the parks quicker. As much as it's nice to relax, at the same time, like I can get from Canada to Mexico in a flash. Whereas if I'm with somebody else, it might not be as easy.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, I saw somebody post something about, it's so expensive to go solo. I'm like, well, it's not really that much more expensive. In fact, it isn't. There isn't, like if you do a cruise or at some all-inclusive hotels, there are a single supplement where you are basically paying for the other person that's supposed to be in that room. Yeah. And that's not the case at Disney. And everything is all together, all that transportation and everything. You can, get a seat at the bar really easily. It's really easy for a cast member to accommodate something if it's just you. Like at Tower of Terror, the cast member was like, is it just you? And I said, yeah. And she's like, oh, well then come into the lobby, So, I mean, don't ever go trying to like guarantee pixie dusting, but it is a lot easier to navigate that part of the parks as well.
Yeah, especially like rides like Soarin'. They'll be looking for one person to fill a seat or stuff like that. Yeah.
And I talk a lot about safety at Disney as a single woman traveling, and like I would never say go to X city and yell out, "Yes, I'm here by myself." But if that happens on Soarin' or Tower of Terror or Space Mountain or any of those rides, just be like, yeah, I'm here by myself. Like, let me skip through that line and get a
bypass
seat.
30 people to get because they're looking for that one extra seat. It happens. It does happen. Is there a park that's better to go as a solo person of the four parks or even the water parks, for example?
I don't have a lot of experience with the water parks. I did Blizzard Beach, and I definitely want to try Typhoon Lagoon. And I think, like you, I just really wanted to do the Lazy River. And I actually found that there wasn't a lot, I guess, like not just solo things, but like adult things. At first, I was really surprised about how much alcohol they sell there. Like everywhere I looked, I was like, oh, this is not food. It's just another bar. That's weird. So I think that Epcot, I mean, everyone has their own, and everyone always says that Magic Kingdom is their favorite. And of course, how can Magic Kingdom, of course it's your favorite. Like, of course it's the favorite. But then also, I think Epcot's a great place to do solo because there are so many things to do and to look at, and all those different areas and world pavilions that you can really get lost and explore, and then also sit down and also get the vibes and also do a fast ride. Like, there's a lot that can like support your trip at Epcot. But also, a lot of people on the podcast talk about how Animal Kingdom is their favorite park, and that they really can't do it the way they would want to do it when they're with other people, because they just want to go fast. And, you know, people on the podcast have been like, I just remember sitting in Africa and just taking it all in and being like, this is so, so special.
Yeah, no, I agree for sure. Yeah, I think Epcot, probably with Epcot, if you want to check out all the shops and all that. If you're on your own, you can just go and spend your day shopping and looking at every single thing in every single store type of thing.
Totally. I mean, there's
so
many.
Else, if I'm with my daughter, there's no way that's happening. Or even my wife, she's not doing that. Animal Kingdom, I agree as well. I went with my DSL camera one day, and I basically spent the entire day taking good quality photos of all the different animals and all the birds and the monkeys and the tigers.
It's such a vibe, Animal Kingdom, right? So if you're there to vibe, then you can go there to vibe. I'm not really like a ride person, and I don't really care, with all due respect, about Star Wars. So I never spend a lot of time at Hollywood Studios, but it doesn't really come up too much in the podcast. And maybe that's just the people I'm talking to. Yeah. But I hear Epcot and Animal Kingdom the most.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Too bad about Star Wars, though.
I mean, it's not my thing. I remember I went to get like a little Coke bottle for a family member.
Oh yeah.
And, you know, the cast member said something to me in canon, and I was just like, "Ooh, I'm princess. I'm a princess type of person. Like, this is not what I'm doing. I'm sorry, I don't know what the response."
Sleeping Beauty instead.
Yeah, that's right.
So we determined which park is best. How about which resort? Is there a resort that's best to go if you're a solo traveler?
Oh my gosh, that's so tough. So I tell people to not look at hotels based on location, because, like, sure, Grand Floridian is close to Magic Kingdom, but it's not close to Animal Kingdom. You know, like, distance is very relative. So I tell people to choose based on price and vibes. So like do that ranking of like where your price point is that you're comfortable, and then choose which vibes you're the most interested in. So for example, I like to talk about Port Orleans Riverside as like textured chill. And Caribbean, and like, I know I'm in a minority, but I don't like Coronado, especially for solo travel. But so many people disagree with me. I'm going to just defend it. My opinion. It's because it's really two resorts. It's the original kind of moderate organization that gets kind of abandoned midday because the focus is on the conference center and the tower. So if you're there only going to be there in the evenings, then yeah, there's great options in the tower. But if you want to have like a nice leisurely swim in a quiet pool and just, you know, like kind of nush all day, then Port Orleans Riverside or Caribbean Beach is a better bet for you. Yeah. So, and then I say, like, the best thing about like the All-Stars is that you're at Disney. and like, great, that's wonderful, like, good for you. I've only stayed in one deluxe resort, which was this past August. It was Kidani Village and I did like the DVC points. I mean, how could anybody not like a deluxe resort? So it's really up to everyone. I stayed at Port Orleans French Quarter for the first time, I guess like last spring, and I loved it so much.
Mhm.
I would prefer to stay in moderates. I love quiet pools. I love what they have to offer. But if I want to go so often, then it's easier to do value. So it's price and vibes.
Yeah. No, boy, you and I are in the same wavelength completely. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, do you do table service a lot when you travel solo, or is it strictly quick service?
No, I definitely do table service. One of the things I love about Disney is that trying new foods and having like kind of grown up adult experiences, the like the risk, the quote unquote risk is so low, because if you don't like something or if you don't have clothes that really match that outfit, it doesn't, or that restaurant, it doesn't really matter, like they can accommodate you. And I love table service too, because I can just kind of like relax my energy and consolidate. And I tell people too that if they are self-conscious about the idea of doing table service, the lounge options are so great, because you can eat in a more casual environment and then also order from the same menu and not feel like you're in the middle of a dining room. But no, I'm definitely table service, because I'm there to like treat myself. So I have my favorite quick service restaurants, but I prefer table service.
Okay. See, I was always very subconscious going solo and eating at table service. Plus, I don't want to spend the money on myself, if that makes any sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's quite a bit more expensive. And I'm like, I just need something to eat. I'm not looking to, I'm special. I've done table services with other people and stuff like that. I haven't done them all by any stretch of the imagination, but I've done quite a few of them. So I very seldom do table service. And it's a little bit subconscious as well, like you said. But when I was in Disneyland Paris, I did a solo trip and I was on the dining plan. Well, with the dining plan, you get table service credits. So it's like, well, I'm not going to waste them on a quick service. And it wasn't bad at all. Like all the subconscious left, Yeah. And if anything, I felt that the wait staff was even more attentive to me because I was solo at the restaurants.
It's totally fair. And, I was just recording an episode where I was saying to people, like, if you're not used to eating alone, you need to practice that. And I think there's a culture now of like people just eating in their cars so much. And so there isn't even the practice of like eating in a fast food restaurant by yourself. And like, have you ever gone into a restaurant and looked at someone eating by themselves and like thought anything bad about them?
What's wrong with that guy?
Right? Like, of course not. And so, I also tell people that if they're shy about seeing characters, but they want to see characters, then doing a character dining experience is actually great. So that seems like it's two big fears of both like eating alone in a table service restaurant and seeing characters. But it's amazing how many people have said like, that was like two of my biggest fears. And then when I did it, I realized it was like the best part of my whole trip.
Was the characters and the dining?
Doing character dining solo.
Doing character dining. You must be looking at my notes, because that's my next question is how how about character?
I'm not looking at your notes.
I like, for myself, I find a character meet and greet, I have no problem with Mickey, Goofy, Donald, Baymax, and any full body character. But for whatever reason, and I know I shouldn't, but I just can't get in line to meet a princess. It's being an older male, so on my own, beating a young woman and putting my elbow out for so she could to get a photo. I just find it creepy, even though I have no intention of being creepy whatsoever. How about yourself?
I can't disagree with you. I can understand how the optics of it seem creepy, because a man who looks and presents like you could very well be a princess's nightmare. And it's so ironic that like the men who are aware of that are the very men who stay away, because they're the very men who are like the safest to be with, right?
I'll see Mary Poppins and I'll go, and there's no line, so I'll go to get a photo. I can see the security guy coming closer.
But it's interesting because I think characters like a Mary Poppins actually probably gets like sexually harassed less than the princesses.
Yeah.
But I do think that a character dining, because I mean, whatever, everyone has to be comfortable. And again, I appreciate and understand where you're coming from, but I still encourage men to go and do character meet and greets. And a dining, like character dining, is a good way to do that, because they're going to take your photo and then move on. But also, the thing I have to say about that is like men, don't be creepy.
Yeah.
And that's like not just related to like meeting Disney princesses, right?
Yeah.
I just interviewed.
I don't know. I'm not sure what it is, but I just can't.
No, I totally get it. I mean, again, it's it's like that instinct that already makes you like a good person to take pictures. I just interviewed a man who was saying he was like really intimidated by going solo and feeling that people would not want to sit beside him as a single man. And I was like, well, obviously, like as a single man, like, and he's like, no, I understand all of that part of it. I just like, how do I flag I'm not creepy? And it's like, you don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Keep your hands to yourself. Don't say stuff you shouldn't be saying.
don't touch places you were not invited to touch. Don't be creepy.
It's funny. Earlier you mentioned about people think it's kind of weird for people to go solo to Disney. I had an incident where I was coming back into Canada and I had got pulled aside at customs, which I always get pulled aside at customs. I don't know what it is. I guess I just put off creepy vibes.
That face. I don't know why.
Customs is always calling dogs over to smell my luggage and going through it and stuff. So the guy asked me, he said, where were you? And I said, well, I was at Disney World. He goes, well, were you by yourself? And I said, yeah. And he goes, well, don't you think it's weird to go for a grown man to go to Disney by himself? And I go, well, no. I got a Disney podcast. I went and took pictures. I did attractions. I met some friends, and and I said, "What do you think it's weird for me to go?" I had nothing to hide. Like I didn't have anything. I wasn't bringing back anything I shouldn't have. I didn't spend more than I should. I had nothing to hide. I had no fear at all. And I think after talking to him, but he agreed with me that it's a cool place to go by yourself.
Because some people have never thought about it.
Yeah,
I tell people on the podcast, like, you don't need to keep your Disney fandom a secret, because secrets are bad. Secrets can be cancerous. But it's okay to be private about it, and that you're protecting yourself, right? So when I would tell people in my big formal office I would say, I'm going to Florida for a food festival to see bands.
Oh, okay.
Go to like the concert series during the Flower and Garden Festival. Mm-hmm. And if people wanted to know more, I would provide them with more information. But I wanted to protect that really like special part of my experience. And if I knew that people were going to be judgmental or didn't understand it, then there was no reason to share that with them. Now, of course, customs is a whole different thing. Yeah.
What was funny was after he realized I had nothing, there was nothing on me that he could charge me with or anything. He said, I'm planning a trip with my family. Do you have any tips?
Yeah.
And I said, listen to my podcast. Here's a button.
I flew to Washington, D.C. This was before COVID, for the day to just do museums. And at customs, the guy was like, museums? And I was like, do you know the museum system you have in Washington, D.C.? It's world class. And I like gave him this lecture, and he's like, how much money do you have on you? I was like, I think I have this $5 bill. He's like, oh my God, lady, like, just go on. I'm sorry I asked.
I also stopped off at the Louvre and picked up some paintings from there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have some jewels too. Don't tell.
See, Kate, next time somebody asks you, what are you doing? And you're going to Disney, and instead of saying that I'm going to Florida for a food festival, what you say is, I'm going to go to China, and then I'm going to walk over to Japan, and then I'm going to take a walk to Mexico.
I know. My sister lives in Italy, and she travels to France for work. How difficult is that life, right? And they're like, well, do you go to visit your sister a lot? And I'm like, well, I mean, I do go to quote unquote Italy and to go to France quite often, but I don't always get to see her.
Yeah. So are there advantages going solo, being female versus somebody going that's male, do you think?
Well, obviously, I can't speak about men's experiences, but I should say that when women travel anywhere, like even just down the street, there is always a radar of safety and being aware of your surroundings. And men will say to me, like, well, I have to be aware of my surroundings too, but it's a different threat level. We can, talk about statistics about femicide, like it's a different threat level. And I was on a Skyliner with a woman once, and she said, oh yeah, I come all the time by myself. Like, as a woman traveling alone, it's the safest place I could be. And it was the first time, although I'm very aware of all of that, that I realized that was one of the reasons why I loved to be there, because my nervous system was not pinging with all these potential threats. I didn't have to worry about creepy men. Like, I didn't have to worry about the threat of violence just coming out of the blue. And it is a huge advantage, I think, for women who aren't used to traveling by themselves, or even who are, to go to a place where you don't have to worry about your safety at all. And there are some stories that a lot of locals, for example, have told, not a lot, but I have heard stories of like a woman, for example, who's a local, who's like in a parking lot at the end of the day and stuff like that. Okay. But generally, I've never heard of any experiences that flag unsafety. And I always tell people solo, especially, to stay on the Disney property. I know off property is so much cheaper, but when I have stayed off property, as soon as I am standing in that parking lot to get that one shuttle, and now I'm on that one shuttle and I'm in this random hotel, as nice as it could be, I do feel my nervous system pinging. Like, I have to be aware of who I'm in the elevator with. I have to make sure no one's following me down the hall. There's all these things that just feel like quote unquote normal travel. Whereas at Disney, there isn't that at all. Now, when I've spoken to men, they have shared that they understand those similar things. I maintain that the threat level isn't as high, but it was kind of interesting and nice to know too that men feel really safe in Disney as well, in ways I hadn't really thought of as a woman. And even just being able to express the full expression of their masculinity, where that is crying at the fireworks, as well as helping a stranger with a baby carriage. There's so many different elements. So that safety part I talk about a lot. And when I talk to friends who, just need a break from everything, female friends who just need a break for everything, I'm like, just go to Disney for a couple days. It is literally, it's just literally being taken care of, especially for elder daughters and moms and people who are used to managing so much. It really feels nice to be safe and taken care of at Disney.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Have you ever been to Disneyland?
Yeah, I have. I've only been a couple times. I went a lot as a kid, and then I went 15 years ago with a former partner.
Okay. Yeah, because I do find that at Disneyland, because Disneyland, I'm not staying at the Disneyland Hotel. I'm staying at one of the cheapo hotels across the street. And by cheapo hotel, it's $200 a night.
It's a totally different situation, though,
yes,
right? Disneyland versus Disney World hotels, yeah.
Yeah, you're no longer in that Disney bubble as soon as you leave that security area. I kind of holding a little bit tighter onto my wallet type of thing,
right?
Walking to my hotel room, and I seem to always end up getting the hotel room that's the furthest away from the main entrance all the time.
Stan, did you go to Disney during COVID?
No.
Were you there? No. Okay, so you might remember that to go back into Canada, we needed the fancy $300 tests, right?
Yeah.
We couldn't just do the one spit test. So I would have to leave the property, go into Orlando to some sort of clinic, and the Ubers that would take me back, I'm just where am I? What is this? It's just a completely different world. I'm please get me back into the Disney bubble. This is weird. Yeah.
I do pretty much every trip, though, take an Uber to the outlet mall to visit the character warehouse.
Okay, so that's been my new thing.
Yeah.
That is my big exception. I do that because that's where I met Francine, because I was like, I need to get all that shopping out of my system. And then I will enter back into the Disney bubble and be very happy. So yes, that's it's been my, for the last year or so, the like one trip I take off property.
Yeah.
It's totally worth it.
So traveling solo to Disney sounds great. You could do what you want, when you want, go the speed you want, all this type of stuff. There's got to be disadvantages. What are the disadvantages about going solo?
Well, a big disadvantage for me is that during the food festivals, I can only eat half the food. The other disadvantages are that you're not sharing these experiences with somebody else. And that is a big deal for a lot of people. And for some people, like parents, they're like, oh gosh, I wish my kids were here to be able to experience this particular thing.
Yeah.
And it's different if your kids have been going for so long. And so now they, but a friend of mine with toddlers was like, I can't go without my kids, right? Number one, yes, you should. And then I know that a lot of people who are single, for example, really feel like a romantic longing when they're there, that they don't have a spouse or a partner to share that with. And so sometimes it can seem like that emptiness or that loneliness is kind of larger. Mm-hmm. People say because they're traveling by themselves that their anxiety level can go up, and that, of course, they can feel lonely. And so I understand all of those things. And then there's like the anxieties of all the individual things, like eating at table service or meeting characters or doing a ride by yourself. And so that can really compound. And, to a lot of that, I would say, like, I think it's easy to move into that loneliness. And like, there's of course like certain times where I'm just like, gosh, I wish I had someone here to experience that. But then I'll also remember times when I've been there with other people and they didn't get it either. And so it's like, is that loneliness or that longing from that experience, or because of something that's like also like larger missing in your life that you feel sad about? And so, Disney's a really good and safe place to kind of do that thinking on your own. And I know some people that like journal when they're there. And the other thing is, and Stan, you and I were talking about this before we were recording, that it's a community. You're really there in a community, that you're really never there by yourself. If you're open to talking to strangers, strangers will talk to you, and you can share that part of your trip and maybe make a friend for 5 minutes or 30 seconds, or maybe like a long-term friend that you now connect with on social media. And so, sure, there are downsides, but I think that in comparison to other types of solo travel, the downsides can really be mitigated. And again, there isn't that additional like cost of someone else there. Yeah. So you can really just focus on the pros.
Yeah. But one for myself, a big fear when I'm traveling solo is getting sick. Because I get vertigo quite easily.
Oh, right.
So I can't imagine being on a trip and on my own and getting vertigo, and it lasting days, or catching a flu or any of that type of stuff. Like I was in Japan and I got really sick one day, and I stayed in my room, and I had to switch hotels the next morning. Like early the next morning, and I was in the room sick the whole day. I was scared. Like, what am I going to do here? Yeah. Thankfully, the next morning I felt better, and I was able to switch rooms, and I ended up having one less day in Japan because I stayed in my room the entire day. But that's a big fear. Big fear of mine is something like that happening.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Although honestly, my bigger fear would be to getting sick in America. As a Canadian, right? Yeah, I think that's really valid. I get really bad migraines, and I have gotten COVID on a few trips that didn't actually take place in 2020. And it's interesting because that wasn't a fear of mine. So it's interesting that you're saying that, because it's such a valid thing. But for me, I guess because I feel so like taken care of at Disney, maybe just because my trips aren't that long, all things considered, that I just feel like, well, if I'm going to be sick at Disney, it's not the worst place to be sick. And I can push through, when I don't know I have COVID, if I just have a bad migraine, I can also say, okay, well, just take care of yourself. Like, you're still here. You're still in Florida. Like, one time I woke up and I just had such a terrible migraine, and I went out and slept on one of the pool loungers at Port Orleans Riverside at a quiet pool. It was the first thing in the morning. I wasn't going to be bothering anyone, but I was like, just for me at least, I was like, take advantage of this safe, magical place that you're in. Yeah. And for me, again, everyone's illnesses and sicknesses and stuff like that, and wellness is different. But I'm like, don't dwell on it. Enjoy what you can while you're here before you have to go. Yeah, but I think that's valid. Yeah, that's valid.
Because you don't have, if I'm with my wife or I'm with my daughter, I got someone to take care. Mind you, my daughter, she was quite young. I think she was 15 or 14, and I did Star Tours for the first time. And I shouldn't have done Star Tours my first time.
Right.
I get sick easy. And so I told her ahead of time, I said, you know what, you might have to help me off this attraction. You might have to undo my seatbelt and all this and that. And of course, I get on there and I'm getting tossed around like a rag doll. Stan's not doing well. I'm closing my eyes. I'm trying to, not get sick. The ride ends. My daughter looks at me and she goes, do I need to help you with the seatbelt? I said, no, I'll be fine. And I went beforehand. I asked the cast member, I said, I get sick easy. Is there a place to sit that I don't? And she says, yeah, sit in the front row close to the exit. It's less jostling there.
Yeah.
So we got off, and so we went into the little gift shop there, and I was okay. But then everybody came exiting the attraction behind us, and whatever, I'm not sure what it was, but I just got really sick. I just started sweating, and we went outside, and we had some water bottle. I could not stop sweating. And my daughter's like dumped the water bottles down my back and whatnot. And she was more scared than I was. She thought, like, what's going to happen with Dad here? Like, but after a few minutes, I was fine and I was okay. But
I had a nervous breakdown on Mission Space. But I was with people. Also, I don't know, maybe it's just like we have different family, but every time I've been sick with family, they've been useless, to be honest. So, I don't know. It's easier. Anyway, whatever. So I was with family, whatever. So I personally, when I know my triggers, I just won't do those things. And I was so excited to try Guardians of the Galaxy, but I know I get motion sickness as well. Mm-hmm. I also asked a cast member. I'm always so surprised they send you to the front. And then I was like, okay, look, I don't have to worry about anybody else. So I took a lot of time getting off the ride vehicle. I only take the elevators up, down, rather than take the stairs. And I'm just like, it's just me. So just relax and take your time. Of course, those are things can be managed better than getting a flu or whatever. But I guess it just depends. Again, the people in my life have been kind of useless when I've gotten sick. So maybe I'm just like, thank God I'm on vacation.
The moral of the story is don't get sick on vacation.
Yeah, don't get sick on vacation. Get insurance, right? Like if you're a Canadian, make sure you're insured and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, exactly. Have you ever done a Disney cruise solo?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't. I know people on the podcast really want me to talk about it. And I haven't because it's expensive. Yeah. Because if you go solo, you're paying for two people.
Right.
So I would just rather go with somebody else and then talk about what I think it would be like to do some of those things solo and just review the adult things. I also would love to do it when my nieces and nephews are a little bit older, and then I can be like the fun auntie that also is spending time in the spa when you start to cry, So I definitely want to do a Disney cruise, and I know people really want me to talk about Disney cruises. Mm-hmm. But financially, I just don't think it's a good value to do solo. So I haven't. Have you?
Yeah. I did the first Star Wars cruise.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I went solo, but it was with a group though. It was with the WW Radio with Lou Mangello, the group cruise. But
that's cool.
But I went on my own. I had my own room.
Yeah.
So I had, and again, I think it's the price of two people minus $100. It's kind
Right.
of what it is, But I looked at it as I could eat for two people then. I'm allowed to have two entrees because I paid for two people. It doesn't work that way.
Look, I mean, if
But
that's okay in somebody's budget, that's okay in
yeah,
somebody's budget. And people who like live in Florida and Americans that don't have to do the conversion.
yeah.
Like, yes, of course, that's great. But for the price of a Disney cruise solo, I can do like 2 Disney World trips, kind of on the cheap. So yeah, it's something I want to do, but
yeah. I did 4 days at Disney, a 7-night cruise, and then 4 days at Disney plus 2 days traveling. So it was basically the entire month of February I was gone.
oh, well, that sounds terrible.
Yeah. So it was an expensive 3 weeks.
Yeah, really. But I mean, probably a wonderful 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about other parks? Have you done any like Universal or any of the other?
No, I'm
parks
not
around?
really into anything that Universal has to offer. Again, that's not a condemnation. I'm just like not interested. I don't care about Harry Potter. I do like Jurassic Park. It'd be cool to ride the Velocicoaster coaster, but I think because of my own body getting jostled around, it's probably better that I have someone that can at least sit next to me if I am totally out of it. I also think that would be cool to like experience with someone who loves those types of roller coasters.
Yeah.
And we have a theme park here in Toronto, Canada's Wonderland.
Okay.
But I'm not really interested in the rides of it. I'm go to Disney because it is this safe city to have fun, to eat good food, to do a whole bunch of other things. But I have done solo trips, just not in theme parks. I've done all-inclusives by myself. I've gone to American cities by myself. I've gone to Canadian cities by myself. I used to travel a lot for work. So all of that is really great. But the Disney trip feels more like a vacation and more therapeutic, again, because of those nervous system, pinging that I think a lot of women feel when they travel by themselves.
Yeah. How about the Canada's Wonderland? Have you done that? I've never been.
Oh, I used to go, as a kid, when in the 80s, it was the Hanna-Barbera land for the
nice.
I'm sure people listening know about that.
Yeah.
And then I went, I guess maybe 10 years ago. We went actually right after Canadian Thanksgiving, and it was perfect because it wasn't very busy, but I don't really care about rides, so it's not really, and it also is just so deeply embedded in going as a teenager.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine going and feeling relaxed or enjoyable.
Yeah.
It's kind of like staying in the 90s section of Pop Century when they're just playing certain songs over and over and over again. And I'm just like, this reminds me too much of high school.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I think we're gonna wrap it up here. The Disney Solo Magic podcast, you can pretty much get that anywhere you listen to the Solo Show, I'm guessing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get it on Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube. YouTube is so weird, though. I don't know. Maybe we could talk about it after we stop recording. So it's, anyway, Apple, Spotify, and on YouTube.
Let's talk about YouTube. It's weird with YouTube.
Well, so YouTube is the RSS feed, right? And it will go and post the episode, and then it will make it private. And then if I catch it right away and make it public again, it will still turn it private. And so
weird.
It just doesn't, even though that's not my main thing, so I'm not even looking for, listeners or whatever, it doesn't even get to those people because it's now playing this private public game.
Yeah, I don't have that problem
and
at all.
Spotify also, I feel does some weird things about the algorithm. So Apple is the place that most people listen and is the most consistent. And then I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads, although I've been a little remiss lately in updating, but I am around. And the best way to get in touch with me is a DM through Instagram. There's also a Patreon where I do reflections on all the episodes. And when I interview people, there'll be a video and then the Patreon people can watch it. And then when I'm on trips, I'll update the Patreon more because it's a little bit more private and a little bit safer. And it's $4, $5 a month. It's not that much, but it's been really nice to have some of the costs of the podcast kind of offset by Patreon. And it's been great to connect with so many people. So, that's So even though everyone listens on Apple, it's easier, I know, to comment on episodes on Spotify and on YouTube, but there's other ways to get in touch.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. This has been a blast.
Thanks so much for inviting me. This was great. And you're going to have to come on and talk about your solo trips on the Disney Solo Magic podcast.
I'd love to. That'd be blast. And maybe someday we'll meet up in the park and we won't be solo.
I know, that'd be great. As always, yeah.
Ken, take us away.
Bye, Ken.
If you have a brilliant idea for a future edition of The Solo Show and would like to take your turn in the guest host's chair, then drop us an email at thesoloshow01@gmail.com. Tell us about your idea for a show and we'll contact you about a date and a time for you to join us. If you would just like to keep the conversation going or have a comment about a previous show, then visit us on Facebook at The Solo Show. Don't forget to join us on YouTube, like us and subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you'll never miss a new show. All logos, songs, music, and sounds that are made by and for Disney and its affiliates are owned by the Disney Corporation and are not, nor are they intended to be owned by the Solo Show podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Thanks for listening, and bye for now.
Here's the Solo Show, let's dive in deep. Star Wars dreams and secrets to keep. Marvel heroes, the Muppets too. A world of wonder just for